welcome everyone. I'm Dr. LuLu. I will be your host today for the gut microbiome, all about learning to how we can restore the gut. So I'm super excited for us to dive into the gut. If you have any questions, if you could please leave them till the end of the presentation. You can put them in, there's a Q&A section, you can put them there, or you can put them into the chat. And at the end of the presentation, I'll be more than happy to answer all the questions that come up, because I'm sure you'll have a lot. Okay, I'm going to share the screen now. And also, just as a reminder, before the event started, we sent out some handouts for you to download in case you want to take notes or follow along. But of course, you don't have to do that. You can just sit back and listen. And you will also get those PDF files again after the webinar. So if you didn't get those and you didn't download them now, don't worry, you'll get them later. Okay, let's get started. Oops. Sorry, here, let me share my screen. All right. Let me make this in the view that you can all see really well. Okay, great. So today we're going to be talking about the gut microbiome and your health. And I'm your host, Dr. LuLu, and it is a pleasure to meet you. And this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I'm all about the gut. So let's dive in. Okay, so again, I'm Dr. LuLu. I'm a naturopathic physician, functional medicine practitioner, author. In fact, my new book just came out today, so I'm super excited about that. I'm a botanical formulator, which means I love to make herbal remedies and formulas. I am a podcast host. I have my own podcast, The Genetic Genius, so you can check that out. If I'm always interviewing health experts to learn about different things in regards to health and genetics and DNA, which are part of my love for health. So I also have my own clinic. I own Dr. Lu's Naturopathic Clinic. I also am the plant medicine director at the Veterans Healing Farm here in the Asheville and Hendersonville area. And I run workshops for the veterans there during the summer. And then I'm also running workshops all the time for patients and everyone wanting to learn about health. So what do I specialize in? I really specialize in helping patients regain digestive balance and vitality by discovering the root cause of the dysfunction. And that can be in lots of different formats, whether you're having hormonal issues or whether you're having adrenal and thyroid issues, whether you're having detoxification issues. Everything is always connected back to the gut, our second brain. So what are we going to be learning today and focusing on? So in this presentation, you're going to learn about why the gut microbiome is so key to good health. And you might have heard the word microbiome, or maybe not, maybe it's new to you, but we're going to learn all about it today and how to assess the health of your gut. And another thing that I sent out prior to this presentation was a leaky gut quiz. So you can follow that link and you can take the quiz and really find out, how is your gut health? Are there some problems that are going on that you need to address? And we're also going to be talking about how your gut microbiome affects your weight, your hormones, moods, and more. And you can see that it's all connected. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about what is the microbiome, right? Is it this thing that lives on planet Mars? No, it lives inside us. And the gut microbiome refers to the bacteria, both good and bad. So microbiome, all the bacteria that live in our gut, and there's tons of bacteria. And we have this symbiotic relationship, always balancing the good and bad bacteria. They live in the gastrointestinal system. And these microbes are essential. We need them to do so much, not only for gut function, but for the health of our entire body, especially the immune system, the endocrine system, that's our thyroid and pancreas, and the brain, that gut-brain connection. Serotonin is one of our neurotransmitters that is only made in the gut. And if the microbiome is not functioning well, we're not going to have that neurotransmitter communicating back to the brain. So how's your microbiome? This is your question for today. So as you're learning and we're working through the presentation, think about how is your gut health and all those things I just mentioned about your immune system, your endocrine system, your brain, how are they functioning? And of course, your digestive system. How are your bowel movements? Are you gassy, bloated? All of those things can be signs of a poor microbiome. So here's some things you might be experiencing if your microbiome is out of balance. So you could be having some GI problems, gut problems, right? So that could be some of those things I just mentioned. You could be having diarrhea or constipation. That's very common. Gas, bloating, weight gain, yeast infections. So that can be having a lot of problems with candida, which can show up on your skin. Joint pain, that's very common with leaky gut and microbiome dysbiosis. Dysbiosis just means kind of like problems in the gut, right? Things aren't functioning well in the gut. And allergic reactions to everything. This is very common because when we have leaky gut or a problem in the microbiome, what happens is these proteins will leak out into the bloodstream and cause lots of havoc. And then we'll have food sensitivities or allergic reactions. That immune system is out of balance. So you can also have sinus problems. It's very common to have sinus problems, allergies, recurring illnesses. So frequent colds or frequent flus, or sometimes it can just even be, you don't just feel right for a long time. You're like, oh, I just kind of feel down and I feel like I'm having this like low grade illness. That's really common. Sugar cravings, super common, and autoimmunity, so autoimmune diseases. So all of these things on this one slide here can be an indication that your microbiome is out of balance. So let's talk about the gut microbiome and your health. So mood, as I mentioned before, our gut plays a key role with the communication back to the brain. And your microbiome has a significant influence over your mental health. So your mood, whether that's happy mood or anxiety, worry, depression. And it also has a ton to do with how we respond to daily stress. You can think about, say, oh, I feel like I have butterflies in my stomach, right? When I'm worried all the time. That is your gut communicating back to your brain about that stress response. And although the exact mechanisms are not apparent, it's well known that the gut microbiome affects mood and cognitive function. And there's lots of studies that are being done and a lot of evidence-based medicine on this particular topic. And I work with patients all the time about how is our gut affecting our mood and how is our brain function? How is our memory? Are you having brain fog? Are you eating foods that are helping to support your memory, helping to support cognition? And so, for instance, certain gut bacteria assist with the production of a feel good. So that's a serotonin neurotransmitter. And other bacteria also affect brain health by controlling these feedback loops that the gut then relays to the brain. So the gut sends a communication to the brain, then the brain sends a communication back to the gut. So this is feedback loop. And another organ that I mentioned earlier, the thyroid, also has a feedback loop system with the adrenal system and it's called the HPA axis and the hypothalamus and anterior pituitary gland. So weight, several factors contribute to weight gain, but one factor that is often overlooked is the gut microbiome. So, if someone is having a lot of problems losing weight, I always want to look at that gut microbiome and even recommend, of course, addressing the food, but bringing in a supplement like a probiotic to help replenish that gut flora. And one study of several sets of twins found that overweight individuals had different gut bacteria sets than their lean twins. Really an interesting study. And you can see that link on the slide here. And being overweight was associated with having lower gut bacteria diversity, meaning that they had bacteria that was not diverse. They had a lot of the same bacteria. Instead, we have a huge amount of different flora in the gut. And we want to have that diversity because it helps our body to function more efficiently. So hormones, oh my gosh, hormones are hugely connected to the gut, and your gut health plays an important role in the functioning of your endocrine system specifically. And your gut bacteria will then signal the hormone releasing glands in your body. And we have lots of different hormone releasing glands, but specifically we have the adrenal gland system that's going to communicate about estrogen and testosterone, epinephrine, and we also have the thyroid gland communicating back to our system about metabolism and different things like that. And these glands release the required number of hormones into the bloodstream. And when we have a poor microbiome or dysbiosis, that communication gets hazy or gets turned off or gets fuzzy, right? So it's a poor communication system or communication breakdown. And gut bacteria directly influence hormones such as estrogen, like I mentioned, other hormones, female and male hormones, testosterone, progesterone, DHEA, cortisol, our stress hormone, and melatonin, our sleep hormone. So if you're thinking to yourself right now, wow, I know I've been having some changes in my cycle, or maybe if you're having some problems with your sleep, or maybe you're having that belly fat around the middle, all of those are connected to our hormones and to our microbiome. So skin issues. Now the gut is a mirror or reflection for everything that is going on in the skin. So if you're having some chronic skin conditions, and I myself just recently, this is a little side note, I've been having this strange rash for a couple months, and I was like, okay, something is definitely happening in my gut. So I began to do a lot of different healing things, which I'll talk about later in the lecture here. But then it slowly started to disappear or leave my body. And I was like, wow, I really had some issues. And so a lot of things, one of the things I did is I cut out a lot of carbs and gluten and sugar and dairy, which I know that I personally am allergic to. And so those really helped my skin rash go away. And then I also took a lot of probiotics and helped with my gut flora and diversity. And so skin problems here, such as eczema, psoriasis, acne, and other inflammatory skin issues are becoming more prevalent in children and adults because we have a standard American diet, very poor diet. And while we tend to see these concerns as strictly skin issues, new science and tons of studies are pointing to the gut microbiome as really being that skin issue. And your gut is connected to your skin through the gut skin axis. And your skin also has its own microbiome, right, on the surface of our skin. And that bacteria and the bacteria in your gut has a direct effect on the bacteria of the skin. So it can change the way we have, like I mentioned earlier, rashes and different things showing up on your skin. And also, stress is a huge component. So when you have a lot of stress going on, your gut dysbiosis happens, that microbiome is thrown off, and then you can develop a rash on your skin or acne because the gut microbiome is not functioning properly. So food cravings, this is huge. So your gut microbiome influences your food choices. For example, yeast thrives on sugar. So when we are eating a lot of sugar, it feeds the yeast. And then that yeast, which is candida, that yeast then signals back to the body and the brain that it needs more. And so you will have a higher sugar craving. So it's actually the gut is in controlling your cravings, not just our mind, right? Which is sometimes we all definitely is connected. Our emotions are really highly connected to food. And bifidobacteria want dietary fiber, and bacteroidetes prefer fatty foods. So it's really interesting when we have a change in our gut microbiome, we'll crave different foods. And I do a lot of gut testing with patients, and there's particular testing we can do for the gut to really see what gut flora is in control, quote unquote, in the gut. And If the ratio of good to bad bacteria in your gut is not optimal, it can lead to extreme sugar cravings that perpetuate the unhealthy gut cycle, right? You can see from what I just said, if you have a lot of sugar, it's going to feed the candida, and then the candida are going to tell your body that you need more. And then you have these really poor cravings or bad cravings that are feeding your body into a state of dis-ease. So inflammation, oh my gosh, it is huge aspect of gut health. And I mentioned at the beginning that's one of the symptoms that you could have of having a poor microbiome or dysbiosis, leaky gut, is inflammation. So joint disorders, joint pain, having chronic joint disorders. And the gut microbiome exists in a symbiotic relationship with the human body, right? So as I mentioned, it's in this constant state of homeostasis. And changes in your diet will cause changes in the gut microbiome, which can cause inflammation and disruptions in the intestinal barrier's normal functioning. So I mentioned a few times during this presentation so far about leaky gut. So this is kind of what this is talking about here. When we have the large intestine of our gut, the lining of that large intestine has cells that form together. They create this tight lining. You can see from my hands in the picture here. And those cells create something called a gap junction. We want those gap junctions to be really tight because we want everything that's in the gut. You can think about your large intestine is the aspect of the gut that is processing or forming fecal matter and helping it to leave all those toxins and things we don't need to leave through the rectum. If that barrier is compromised in any way and then things leak out through that intestinal lining, what happens then is we have havoc in the bloodstream because we have proteins and different things that have leaked out into the bloodstream. And our immune cells, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They see those as a foreign particle or foreign matter, and then they have an inflammatory response. So having a healthy microbiome is key to helping decrease inflammation. And you can also do testing. Zonulin is a test we can do to see if you do have leaky gut. So that's a great one for that. Okay, the immune system, so key. So we have our immune system of the gut, GALT, and a healthy gut is equal to a healthy immune system, 100%. And beneficial bacteria in your gut influence health and immune homeostasis. So you can think about if you're eating a really poor diet, it's easier to have a sickness come your way, so to speak, during especially an example. This is a great example. So let's say during the holidays, the weather is colder, we're around a lot more sickness because it's flu season, but then also we're going to a lot more parties and around friends and eating things that we might not usually eat, lots more carbs, maybe alcohol and sugar, and that affects our microbiome. So then the microbiome's immunity is low, and then we're exposed to more microbes and bacteria, viruses. So it's easier for us to get sick in that season. So having a healthy immune system going into that season is really key, but then in general, yeah, as well too. And you can see the picture on the right here. This is a picture of DNA. So any interference can result in altered immunity. And research has shown a connection between poor gut health and many health conditions, including autoimmune disorders. So I can do a lot of things. I run a lot of genetic panels with patients, and we can test to see if there's specific genetic markers that can show if you have a propensity or something in your DNA that will show how your gut is working and functioning. So allergies are a huge aspect of not only the gut, our respiratory system, our adrenal system, and allergic reactions can tie way back into our childhood if we developed a poor immune system from birth, whether that was didn't have a regular childbirth, if we were born cesarean, we didn't have that same vaginal flora through birth. And then also if we had sicknesses as children, we had to take a lot of antibiotics that can also destroy the gut flora and lead to allergies later in life, especially skin conditions. So many things can cause allergies. And so changes in the gut microbiome can affect your health in many ways, including seasonal allergies, so environmental allergies, chemical allergies, and food-related allergies. So seasonal allergies, of course, can be pollen, ragweed, and things like that. Environmental allergies can be those seasonal allergies, but then we're also looking at other environmental toxins that can affect us. Also, chemical toxins or chemical things like if you're sensitive to fragrances or chemicals, and also food-related allergies. So having a lot of food sensitivities in the gut, having food intolerances. And one of the functions of the gut microbiome is to train the immune system. It's in that first stages of birth, and as we develop as children, it's how we're training our microbiome, our immune system, to have a specific response. And if it feels like you're allergic to everything, your gut could really be the root cause. So if you're listening to this and tuning in, you're saying like, wow, I kind of feel like I do have an allergy to everything I eat, or everything I smell, I have a reaction, or everything during the hay fever season. So that can be a real sign that that gut microbiome is out of balance. And dietary changes and changes in your environment result in changes in your gut microbiome composition. So your gut microbiome is ever shifting due to what we're eating, due to our mood, due to the environment around us. And so it's always shifting. So it's great to be aware of how your body is responding to different components around you. So how to give the gut microbiome a boost, right? This is key. So we've been talking about some problems that might be going on in the microbiome, which is great, right? So, but how do we help the microbiome? So some healthy gut tips. So here's a few things you can really do right away to help boost the microbiome. So one, eating a wide range of foods in various food groups, including plant-based foods such as grains, seeds, and legumes. This helps to diversify your gut microbiome and improve gut health. So there's actually some studies done that showed that most people eat the same 30 foods all the time. We get into a habit, so to speak, and it could be a bad habit or a good habit of eating the same 30 foods. So when we diversify, it gives our gut a change up, right? It allows that change to happen, improves and changes the diversity of our gut flora. Eating more fermented foods, oh my gosh, this is a really key one. And in one of the handouts that you were, which I'm going to be talking about, the omnivore gut health plan, and also have a vegan one. If you need that, just reach out to me. And there's recipes in there specifically on how to make your own fermented foods. So that's a great one. Of course, you can buy fermented foods at the store if you don't have the time to make their own, but it's always great if you make your own. It adds that extra love and attention to it, right? But there's also great ones you can buy. But fermented foods such as sauerkraut and kefir are rich in healthy bacteria. They also help to control the number of pathogens in your gut, reducing that bad flora and bad bacteria. So removing chlorine in your drinking water, making sure you're drinking filtered water is key. Reducing your sugar intake, like I mentioned before. Sugar stimulates the growth of pathogenic bacteria and carcinogenic bacteria. So sugar is really dangerous to the gut. So reducing that sugar intake you'll see many long-term effects from having lower sugar. And only take antibiotics when absolutely necessary. Antibiotics do not distinguish between pathogenic and beneficial bacteria. They kill all bacteria. So if it is necessary for you to take an antibiotic for a specific pathogen, make sure that you're taking a strong probiotic to replenish the gut flora. So more healthy gut tips. So now I'm going to be moving into the second part of the lecture. So this is the second, so the first part was that first handout that you received, or you can download now. And that was the gut microbiome. Now, the second one is all about the plan, about how to really start to get in there and reboot the gut system. So you can download this and move through it. I didn't put all of the aspects of it into the presentation, like the actual recipes and things, but you can find them all in the guide. So here's what we're going to be doing first. So this is a 3-day kind of gut plan or gut reboot. Of course, you could do it longer, but this is really a way for you to get in there and get things moving and restored. So first of all, it's really key to keep a food journal. And if you need one that you like, you can just use a notebook. But if you want one, just reach out to me. I have tons. I can send you my great food journal that's going to help you track the specific aspects of your gut that might be out of balance. And how do you do that? So, label like the times of the day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, any snacks in between. And then you want to label some specific times of the day. So, like morning, afternoon, evening, and then symptoms, right? So, let's say, for instance, gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, any mood changes, any of those other things that I listed in the beginning, chronic pain, joint pain, and any changes in mood, any changes in sleep. So this is going to be a tracker as you're moving through the GUTSY Omnivore plan. So make sure you're following the plan to the best of your ability. Remember, easy does it is key. So when we stress, we inflame our intestinal lining. So this is very easy and basic just to get you jump started. Remember to keep a journal, a binder, or an Excel spreadsheet to keep track of when you are adding any specific supplements. And I gave some specific recommendations here in this presentation. If you need any real key recommendations, just reach out to me and I can say like, okay, these are some of the basic enzymes or probiotics, which I'm going to talk about soon. Remember to reduce supplements if you're experiencing too much die-off. So this means you may feel tired or have headaches, loose stool, or constipation, or experience poor sleep or moodiness. So what is a die off? So when we have a lot of bad bacteria in the gut and we're taking key supplements or changing our food or doing things, that bad bacteria will off gas, die off, and it can cause any of those symptoms there. So if you're already having some of these symptoms and they worsen, you could be having some die off. You can always reduce or cut back on supplements as this is a marathon and not a sprint, right? And we start working on the foundation first by supporting your body, doing the detox tools daily, and getting clear on which foods are working for you. Okay, foods that support the gut. So these are specific foods that I recommend to start bringing in to replenish gut flora and support the gut flora. So coconut oil. Coconut oil is a great anti-inflammatory, and you can cook with coconut oil, but you can also take coconut oil and or MCT oil, medium chain triglycerides, as a supplement, and they kill off those pathogens and bad bacteria. Pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are great. They help kill parasites, and it's best to consume a quarter cup daily as a late afternoon snack, or make a pumpkin seed milk in your Vitamix with water, or a fourth a cup of pumpkin seeds, cinnamon, and stevia. That's how you can make that combo, and that's a really easy one. And you can use it for smoothies or just drink it plain. Cloves and cinnamon. So those particular things as a spice or as an essential oil are great for killing microbiomes that can wreak havoc. So you can add those spices to any foods or smoothies that you're making, which will help support the microbiome. Turmeric. So turmeric is a amazing, powerful antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory. And adding 1 tablespoon of turmeric to your foods, whether you're making like a soup or a bone broth, or you're making a smoothie, adding that turmeric in is a great addition. And main course sea vegetables. I love to sprinkle sea vegetables on foods. It's a wonderful way to help support the thyroid I had talked about earlier, and adrenal health and gut health. And I put a link here as well as your handout to purchase those if you'd like. Chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is an amazing supplement for detoxifying the liver. You can reach out to me for a link, or you can also search in Amazon. I don't really always recommend using Amazon, but since some of you that are watching this might not be my patients, I just put that link in there. But you really want to be buying something and using something by a company that stands behind it. And we don't always know what's coming through Amazon because it goes through many different hands. That's all I'm saying there. And so 1 tablespoon of chlorophyll to water, consuming twice a day, or adding to juice will increase your energy, help to support the microbiome and the flora as we're killing off bad bacteria. So ghee, if ghee is tolerated, or if milk is not tolerated, ghee is fabulous for nourishing and healing the intestinal lining, because ghee is a clarified butter. So you don't have that if you're lactose intolerant, you're not going to have that same reaction. Okay, supplements. So these are the supplements that I recommend bringing in if you're going to be doing this wonderful 3-day GUTSY restoration plan. So probiotics, you can do just a basic probiotic. I wouldn't take anything less than 10 billion, and some liver support. So that could be a milk thistle is a great one, or eating some liver supportive foods. If you would like more information about that, just let me know. I'll send you my liver supportive food handout. And I'll send that out with the handouts after the lecture today too. When I send out the follow-up, I'll send that liver supportive handout. So you'll have those foods. Adrenal support. There's lots of great adrenal support. From the herbal perspective, you could do ashwagandha or rhodiola. Those are fabulous herbs. You could also bring in some of our vitamins and minerals, like a vitamin B12 or B complex, magnesium, and L-carnitine. Those are some great adrenal supports. And gut killers. So these are going to be anything that is going to kill off pathogens in the gut. Oregano oil is a great one. There's lots of different recommendations that I can give here, but you want to bring in something that's a gut killer to help the microbiome, to the bad flora to die off. Okay, so food combining. So food combining is when we're having some different foods coming in together, not just eating one food at a time. So fruit digests itself, passing through the digestive system within 20 minutes. So by eating this alone, you avoid fermentation in the belly. And so fermentation can lead to gas and rob you of energy and slow your digestion down. So you want to make sure if you're eating fruit, you're eating it away from your other foods. Starches and vegetables. So foods such as baked potatoes, sweet potatoes, or sweet corn should be eaten alone with the vegetable or with a small amount of fat. And it's advised to eat starches like carbs, such as quinoa, buckwheat, brown rice, millet, or amaranth, only with vegetables such as starches, because they require a different digestive enzyme than protein. And proteins and vegetables, so unlike starches, proteins require an acidic environment in our gut, in the stomach lining specifically, for ideal digestion. So it's best to eat protein with vegetables and a healthy fat. And then when you add a starch, you force your body's natural enzymes to compete to digest your food. So if you are having some digestive problems and you're thinking you took maybe a leaky gut quiz that I recommended, you're like, okay, maybe I need to really focus on this food combining. And this is something you can just do during the Omnivore gut restoration plan for those 3 to 5 days. Okay, soaking nuts, grains, and seeds. So please soak your grains and seeds to reduce the phytic acid that's released from these. So here's how to soak grains, beans, seeds, and nuts. So add the grains, beans, seeds, or nuts to a bowl of warm water or room temperature water, and then add 1 to 2 tablespoons of lemon juice or Bragg's raw apple cider vinegar. Soak the grains, beans, seeds, or nuts for 12 to 24 hours, and then leave the bowl sitting on your countertop. Empty the grains, beans, seeds, or nuts into a colander. Rinse them at least 6 times to remove the remaining phytic acid, and then cook the grains, seeds, or beans as usual to store the seeds or nuts in your fridge for 1 to 2 days. So that phytic acid can cause dysbiosis in the gut. So when we're doing a gut restoration plan, we want to reduce that phytic acid to allow our body to have a better chance to break down the food with the specific enzymes and reduce that phytic acid content. So smoothies are a great way for gut restoration. If you have a high-speed blender, add all of the ingredients in the order they're listed without the ice, blend until smooth. And if you want your smoothie to be colder, add the ice in cubes and then blend. And in your handout that you'll see, I have given you some ideas of smoothies and some smoothie recipes. And also, if you would like more smoothie recipes and more great meal plans, every month on my website under services and meal plans, I have free monthly meal plans, meal guides, shopping lists, and they're all gluten-free, and they have dairy alternatives. So that's a great way to see lots of smoothie recipes. If you don't have a high-speed blender, add the almond milk, banana, apples, dates to the blender, blend until smooth. And feel free to add a few more tablespoons of almond milk to get the mixture going, right? You don't want to have it be really thick. You want to get things moving in there. Then add your seeds, like your pumpkin seeds I talked about to kill parasites, hemp, protein, and spices to really get that mixture blend up. Again, if you like your smoothie colder, just add some ice. And for each smoothie, blend all those ingredients in the high-speed blender or normal stand-up blender, and then feel free to add water. If some people like smoothies thick, some like them thin, just to your taste level. And use organic produce whenever possible. You know, that's 100%, especially when it comes to greens, so that we're not having more toxins go into our healthy gut. And each smoothie recipe serves 2 people or maybe uses a substitute for 1 large meal. So you see that in your gut restoration plan. And protein is important in the morning. So you can add extra protein to any smoothie by including a scoop of your favorite protein powder. You can try, here's some examples here, Nutiva, Rock and Wellness, Sun Warrior, or Pea Protein, or reach out to me if you want a specific recommendation. Just make sure you're reading the sugar content because you want to have a low sugar content in that protein powder, not like a lot of added sugar. That's definitely not good for the gut. You can also use 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds. Make your smoothie again colder by adding the ice cubes after you add the protein. So here are some smoothie ideas. These are all things that are going to help support the gut and decrease dysbiosis, decrease bad gut flora. So hemp seeds, flax seeds, and chia seeds, those are our protein seeds. Spirulina, this is going to help detoxify the gut and also increase energy with the adrenal glands. Bee pollen, this will help if you're having a lot of seasonal allergies and environmental allergies. You can add that in to your smoothie. Unsweetened shredded coconut, I love this, gives us like a great coconut flavor. It also gives us some of the rich fatty acids. You can add coconut oil like I talked about before, just as a tablespoon per smoothie. Also a raw cacao powder, wonderful taste and flavor, rich in flavonoids. Raw honey, again, raw honey, don't add a lot to make it really sweet, but it can help with decreasing inflammation, help with seasonal allergies. Stevia, that's a wonderful sweetener. And then some superfoods you can add. Maca, wonderful for hormones and adaptogenic, adrenal support, lucuma, wheatgrass powder. All of those are great superfoods to add in. Turmeric is also one I mentioned earlier. You can add in turmeric to your smoothies. Matcha powder. So matcha is green tea powder. It's high in antioxidants. It's going to really supercharge your smoothie. So detoxification greens, you always want to have some greens in your smoothie. You can add dandelion, parsley, cilantro, radish. Those are the detoxifiers. Now, other greens you could add would be kale, Swiss chard, arugula, mustard greens. Those are going to be a little bit spicier, but any of those greens, you can also add romaine lettuce. That's going to be really hydrating. Sprouts of any kind, that's a great addition. And camu camu for vitamin C, that's also a powder that you can purchase. Protein powder, like I mentioned earlier, making sure you're getting one that has great grams of protein in the nutritional label. And then goji berries, currants, or dates, those are great to add a little sweetener to your smoothie. So you can either see here, there's tons of ways that we can make a great smoothie in the morning. The points of these smoothies here is to give your gut the environment it needs to detoxify, to then boost the gut flora, the good gut flora, and help our body to eliminate the bad gut flora. Okay, and then the next part of this section is daily detoxification. So it's really important during this gut restoration, this 3 to 5 day gut plan, is that you really want to hit the detox aspect. And so I gave you here a few things, and you can just pick one, or if you like, you can pick a couple, but at least one is really key. So skin brushing, I'll also send out the skin brushing guide when I send out the follow-up from the presentation. I have a wonderful guide, and skin brushing is fabulous. It's so good. If you're not doing it now, please bring it into your routine. It helps support the circulation, the liver, the lymph system, the venous system. It decreases inflammation. And you want to use doing a dry brush before you get into the shower, and then rinse all that dead skin off. And you want to do very light movements, circular strokes as you're working your way up towards your heart. Sweat and exercise, this is really key. In general, you want to be doing some exercise every day, but when you're doing a detoxification and gut restoration, you got to at least commit to 15 minutes a day of exercise. Sweat, get the blood moving, purge the toxins from the body. So if you're not doing anything where you're getting that cardiovascular increase, here's some things you can try. Brisk walking, rebounding on a rebounder, which is a trampoline, some jogging, some cycling or swimming. Just those are some really easy ones you can bring in. But also sweating is key. So doing a sauna, a steam room, or hot bath are to really get the body to release, the pores to be opened up, and then following that with a cool rinse off to help your body to have the inflammation decrease and to close those pores. Sweating releases toxins from the body, and regular exercise is so key for healthy metabolism. Tongue scraping. So this is a little thing that you can buy. It's a metal piece and you scrape it over the tongue. It supports liver detoxification because it removes unwanted bacteria from the mouth and supports a healthy digestion. Super easy. I do this every day as my routine at nighttime after sleeping because our body goes through that detoxification a lot at night. And that's why we have that bowel movement in the morning. And so doing it at night will really help the detoxification process. Epsom salt baths, this is another detoxification routine you can add in. So try adding in a half a cup of Epsom salts and half a cup of baking soda and a few drops of lavender oil to a warm bath. So soothing, so relaxing, and soak for about 30 minutes. And this is going to help detoxify the liver, provide your body with essential magnesium in the Epsom salts, which is really necessary for optimal relaxation, digestion, detoxification, and health during this gut restoration process. So morning plan. Okay, so this is what you're going to be doing in the morning and then doing in the evening. So morning, try to wake up 30 minutes earlier over the next couple days when you're going to be doing this, and say, you know, this to yourself: I do not have to rush during that 30 minutes. I can relax. I can prep my snacks for the day. I can do a midday break for 1 to 2 minutes, breathing deeply, and then see the guide for meals and menus and other ideas for more tips here. And then in the evening, you want to do at least 3 times a week, doing one of the detox routines that I just mentioned. So whether that's doing your skin brushing, Epsom salt bath, or doing the tongue scraping, something to really help your body to detoxify. And again, remember, you don't need to rush. This is a healing aspect for your gut. Drink a cup of nettle tea at night with stevia or manuka honey. And so nettles are great detoxifiers. It's going to help pull out the toxins from your system as a diuretic and help you to release the toxins from the day. Drink 8 ounces of water with lemon and a dash of sea salt before bed to enhance liver function. This is also something you could do in your morning routine as well. And again, see the guide for meals and menu ideas. Okay, great. So we've learned so much today about how to restore the gut. And remember, there's a couple guides that I mentioned that are going to help you with this gut restoration process. So one, there's a presentation from today, the gut microbiome and gut health restoration. Then you have your GUTSY Omnivore Health Guide. This is going to guide you through a 3 to 5 day, really easy process. It's got all the plan laid out and menu ideas and what to do those days. And, you know, I really recommend, if you're going to start this, read through. And after July 4th, because we're moving into a holiday, that's a great time to start it. And then reach out to me if you have any questions about that as well. And if you want to move things a little bit further along and do a longer detox, I'm offering $100 off my genetic detox program using the code genetic detox 100. And that is a great program. You'll get amazing recipes, guides, tips from me. You also get a 30-minute visit with me, and all of that's only $99 when you use this genetic detox code. And it's a fabulous 3-week or to 4-week, depending on how you do the reintroduction phase. Really a great way to reboot the body, totally restore the gut, and get you back on track. You can also schedule a free discovery call with me to find out how you can achieve optimal health. Super easy. Just go to my website and click book an appointment and click the discovery call. Follow me on Instagram at Dr. LuLu Shimmick. You can learn about health tips, recipes, my free webinars, which I'm doing just like this one every Wednesday. And You can also find more of these webinars on my website under the program section. And there's always, you can watch all the replays. If there's something that interests you, just go in and watch the replay, and there's free guides to go with each of those. So I have lots of resources to help you achieve optimal health. And stay tuned for more upcoming programs. I have the hormonal health program starting this summer, as well as the gut restoration in the fall. So again, thank you for attending this evening. I enjoyed so much teaching you about gut health and how to take your gut to the next level.